The dinner had always been scheduled like a negotiation that pretended to be a meal. Nothing was written down, but everyone knew the terms. We ate at 7. We talked about safe things until someone, usually my father, decided it was time to assess character. That night, the chicken was dry, the rice a little underdone. My mother kept getting up for things she didn't need. The television murmured in the other room, a game show laugh track leaking through the wall like static. My brother wasn't there, but his name was. It usually was. My father cleared his throat the way he did when he was about to say something reasonable. "You know," he said, not looking at me, "your brother figured things out early. Work ethic. Responsibility. You could have learned from that." I kept eating. I'd learned when to keep my head down. Silence in this house had always been interpreted as humility or weakness. It depended on who was speaking. He went on, encouraged by the lack of resistance. "You're not half the man your brother is." The sentence didn't land with a crash. It settled, like dust. My mother didn't intervene. She never did at first. She watched reactions, waited to see what shape the night would take. My father cut his chicken, satisfied. The game show audience laughed on cue in the other room. I felt something move, not anger exactly. More like alignment, pieces clicking into a pattern that had always been there but hadn't been named. For years, I'd paid the rent. Not because I was asked directly. It started as helping out. Then it became routine. Money transferred on the first of the month. Repairs handled quietly. Late notices intercepted before they became conversations. I didn't announce it. They didn't ask questions. It was easier that way. My contribution lived in the background, like the utilities necessary invisible. Respect, meanwhile, was treated as incentive, something to be earned later, once I proved myself by some undefined standard that kept moving. I pushed my chair back. The scrape against the tile was louder than I meant it to be. Everyone looked up then. My father frowned, already irritated at the interruption. "If I'm not half the man he is," I said, evenly, "then he can start paying your rent." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't emphasize anything. I stated it the way you'd state a scheduling conflict. For a moment, nothing happened. My father let out a short laugh, the kind he used when he thought someone was posturing. "Don't be dramatic," he said. "Sit down." My mother was still. Her fork hovered midair. She looked at me, not angry, not defensive. Pale. "Rent?" she asked. "What rent?" The question wasn't loud, it wasn't even sharp. It came from somewhere lower, closer to the body. Fear, maybe. Or realization. My father turned toward her, annoyed. "He's exaggerating." I didn't correct him. Dinner's eyes moved between us, searching for the version of events she preferred. Then she looked at the stack of envelopes on the counter behind me. Notices she hadn't opened yet. Things I'd been handling. "How long?" she asked, shrugged. Not dismissive, just factual. "A while." My father's face tightened. "This is family," he said, as if that explained everything. "You don't throw that in our faces." I almost laughed at the phrasing. I hadn't thrown anything. I'd set something down. The room felt smaller. The rules were changing and no one had agreed on replacements. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I ignored it at first, but then it buzzed again. I took it out, glanced at the screen. A name, a property management office. I'd been expecting the call earlier. "I should take this," I said. My father scoffed. At the table. I stepped into the hallway anyway. The house creaked the way it always did, protesting movement. I answered quietly. "Yes," I said. "I'm here." The conversation was brief. Confirmations. Dates. A reminder about the lease being in my name, because my credit had been the only one that qualified at the time. The words were neutral, professional. They didn't care about pride or family dynamics. When I came back, no one was eating. My mother's hands were folded tightly in her lap. My father stared at the table, jaw set. He looked older like that, smaller. "You put the lease in your name?" My mother asked. "Yes." "Why would you do that without telling us?" My father snapped, finding his footing again. Authority through volume, an old habit. I met his eyes. "You never asked who was paying," I said. "You just assumed." He opened his mouth. then closed it. Assumptions had always been his specialty. He was good at them. They'd worked for a long time. "So what?" he said finally. "You're holding this over us now." "No," I said. "I'm stepping out from under it." Silence followed, not the comfortable kind. The kind that recalibrates. My mother spoke first. "Your brother can't afford—" "I know," I said, not unkindly. "That's my point." The hierarchy we'd all been operating under didn't account for logistics. It ran on narrative. My brother was successful. I was still figuring things out. That story didn't survive contact with paperwork. My father stood up, pushing his chair back hard enough to make a point of it. "You think money makes you better?" he said. I shook my head. "No. I think money makes things clear." He wanted to argue. I could see it, the old reflex to assert control, to remind me of my place. But places were defined by leverage, and his had just dissolved. "I'm moving out next month," I said. "You'll have time to sort something out. Or not. That's up to you." My mother looked like she might cry, but she didn't. She nodded once, as if filing the information away where panic could wait. My father said nothing more. He didn't apologize. He didn't take back what he'd said about my brother. That wasn't the point. I picked up my jacket. At the door, I paused, not for effect, but because I realized something. This wasn't a victory. It was an adjustment. The cost was immediate distance, discomfort, at the end of pretending we were operating on mutual respect. But something else had ended too. The automatic dismissal. The assumption that my role was to support quietly and absorb criticism gratefully. Behind me, the television audience laughed again, right on cue. I closed the door gently.